Any health-related information on the following show provides general information only. Content presented on any show by any host or guest should not be substituted for a doctor's advice. Always consult your physician before beginning any new diet, exercise, or treatment program.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Inspired and Empowered Living TV show and podcast for a thriving life and business. And we are live on Thursdays at 5 p.m. Eastern on talk4tv.com, w4wn.com, and my YouTube channel. And today, we will be talking about self-love, part 2. So the power of self-love, not just self-love. We will discuss the benefits of self-love. When you love yourself, your relationship with others and yourself transforms, and you will see how your life changes. Experience what it feels like to have an inspired and empowered life. Together, let's create a life you love. I'm your host, Nanci Deutsch, licensed clinical social worker, certified hypnotherapist, and intuitive business expert. I combine my counseling, coaching, and intuitive abilities to transform your life and your business. This show is not a replacement for therapy or counseling. It is for educational purposes only. So last week, we talked a lot about what self-love is, and I really want to go over again what self-love is in a different way than I talked about it last week. So, first of all, it's really not surface level. Self-love, true self-love is unconditional. It's a deep, profound love for yourself. And it's not about affirmations that you don't believe. It's the kind of love that creates an inner stability. And what happens is, as you exude that inner stability, your confidence grows and you begin to become more magnetic to the people, the situations, the opportunities, things that happen for you because you're more magnetic. And what happens is it's about attracting what you want in your life because you know that you deserve it. And how you feel about yourself will affect every area of your life, and it affects what you attract into your life. And that is why it's crucial to have that self-love. Now, I invite you to ask yourself, take a breath, everybody. And if you're driving, please don't close your eyes. You can do this at a later time on the podcasts, which are on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Pandora, Apple, and Amazon, and many more. And take a breath, pause, and reflect. I'm laughing to myself because every time I say the word pause, I think of pause like animal paws. I don't know, whatever. Anyway, okay. Laughing at yourself is self-love. Enjoying yourself is self-love. And last week, Mickey was talking about making time for yourself is self-love. Very important to spend that alone time. And make alone time is self-love. And so I want you to pause and ask yourself, do you speak to yourself with kindness or with pressure? Do you feel you must prove your worth, or do you already feel worthy? Do you overgive, hoping that you'll be valued? So, really take a moment to breathe and tune in to what your truth is around those questions. And you will see that one is coming from that self-love place, treating and speaking to yourself with kindness. We can be kinder to other people, and it's time to be kinder to yourself. And I'm also going to tell you, the more the more you love yourself, the kinder you are to yourself, the more you will see that reflected back to you. Life and people and relationships, your business, they're all mirrors for how you feel about yourself. And the more you love yourself, the more you will see the positive reflected back. Kindness and generosity and love and respect and in honesty, all of those are all part of what happens for you when you love yourself. And you are already worthy, and you are already deserving. And I can tell that to you, but it's about you believing that for you. And it's also about knowing that you don't have to give in hopes that you will be valued, that you are worthy, deserving, and valuable for who you are, for being. And it's learning that. This is all, remember, self-love is a journey. It's an ongoing journey, because remember, we're infinite beings, and the more that we can grow in that self-love, the more we can allow ourselves to expand and become more embodied into who we really are. And self-love is not ego. Self-love is not narcissism. And I do have some list for you so that you understand what that means when I say narcissism. It's not selfishness. It's not avoiding growth. And it's not thinking you're better than others. And self-love, when you feel that self-love, so everybody breathe. And when you feel that self-love, you have an inner safety. That no matter what's going on around you, you can feel this place of safety within yourself. There's emotional stability. You have self-respect. You honor your needs. And you accept your humanity. And when you don't have that self-love, you can overgive. You may over-explain. You may overwork. And you may undercharge. You may fear rejection. And you may stay in draining relationships that are not serving you. And I really want to remind you, this is not because you're weak, but this is because you seek external validation. And learning to love yourself and have that self-love is where you learn to give it to yourself internally. And so what happens with self-love is that instead of seeking approval outside yourself externally, you start really in that place of self-love where you feel that self-trust and you really trust yourself. And again, having that good relationship with time. It's so important to make time for yourself, to make the time for yourself to nurture yourself. And we're going to go into a list of things you can do to nurture yourself if you're not really sure. But I invite you and I want to support you all to think, what's nurturing to me? What feels nurturing to me? And to make time for yourself. To know no matter how busy a life you have, it's crucial to give yourself those moments, that precious time for you. And that is one of the ways you honor yourself and show yourself that you are worth it. And so let's talk a little bit more about nurturing. What is nurturing yourself? What happens for you when you nurture yourself? Okay. So you may be somebody who likes to meditate. And now meditation doesn't only mean putting on music or meditation, or it could be looking into a candle. It could be a walking meditation. It could be mindfulness, a mindfulness meditation where you're in observation and you're mindful of everything. Meditation doesn't always mean going on a journey, or I personally like guided meditations. I've been doing guided meditations for a very long time. Because for me, I knew I know what it's like to have that mind where you're thinking, the chatter, and you don't know how to stop. And so it took me a long time to be able to quiet my mind. But I will tell you, it is worth it to learn how to quiet your mind. That's part of self-love. And it doesn't mean, let's say you're doing a 15, 20-minute meditation, even mindfulness, or you get distracted. It's okay. This is not about beating yourself up. This is about learning and growing and exploring. And if you have thoughts that come up, oh, there's that thought. Imagine it as like a cloud passing by and then going back in. Or whether you're meditating to a guided journey, or you're meditating, maybe you're doing mindfulness where you're watching your breathing or listening to your heartbeat, feeling your breathing. Yoga is a way to nurture yourself. And yoga is a way to nurture yourself. Or maybe going to get a massage. I know for me, one of the things that feel really nurturing, like I always say, start your day in a spiritual way. Now, that could be meditating, or it could be yoga, or it could be prayer, taking a prayer book. or it could be journaling. It could be any of those things where you're giving yourself that precious time to start the day or end the day. Precious time. We can never take back time, and that's why it's precious time. It's a gift you give yourself when you allow yourself to give to yourself in present time. And one of the things that I love to do in the mornings, one of my favorite activities is I start my morning with my green tea. Love my green tea. And the tea feels, there's something about tea and soup. I love tea and soup. And they feel very nurturing and very comforting for me. And so I'll make my tea in the morning, and then I'll put on YouTube and I'll put on a station where you have the relaxing music and the beautiful nature scenery. And I love starting my mornings like that. And I may not do official meditation, but I'm in a meditative trance. And I'm spending time with myself. I love my morning time. Love it. And I really want to support all of you in taking that time. And some of you may only be able to give yourself 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15. It's okay. Start with a little bit. And some of you may want to play with being able to tune into your intuition. And another way to nurture yourself is going out in nature. Or maybe it's sleeping late, reading a book, having fun and playing, being a kid again. What's playful for you? What's fun? It's exploring your sensual self and your sexual self, and they're different. And it's learning to be loving and gentle to your body and to yourself. Body, mind, emotion, spirit. And I invite you to make a list of ways that you can take care and nurture yourself. Learning. I love learning. And having gratitude for yourself, really appreciating yourself. So important. So important. And you definitely want to be able to find the ways that allow yourself to tune in, to tune into you and tune into your intuition. And giving yourself those moments, that time, making decisions from that intuitive place rather than trying to figure it out or like really get frustrated or be indecisive. Those are not ways to love yourself. Loving yourself is asking what's for your highest good and then tuning into your intuition and listening. What is the answer? In the quietness, in the stillness, in the moments. And it may come in that moment or it may come during the day. And it's asking to be open to receive the message when it comes, wherever it came. So it may come, maybe I'm giving you the answer to a question that you didn't even realize. Or maybe somebody else that you are having a conversation with. Or maybe it's a book. Or maybe it's a YouTube short. Or maybe it's something on social media, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. So I think I mentioned most of them, the ones I pay attention to anyway. So And then I promised, I talked about last week about narcissism to help you all understand what narcissism is so that you can understand. And I venture to guess that you who are listening to this show are not narcissists. And I don't want to go into it for a long time. And believe me, if you are interested in this discussion more, I'd be happy to go into it further during another show. And I'm going to start talking more about relationships. So I'm just going to talk about like what happens with narcissists, what's a quality of narcissists, so that you get to know what that means. And if you want me to go deeper into it, and help you to understand how relationships happen or how to deal with a narcissist, that kind of thing, we can talk about that in another show. But basically, a narcissist, and here's the thing, narcissism is a spectrum. And we all have a piece of it. Okay, so you as a healthy person may be selfish sometimes. And I also want to point out, and this is really, really important, self-care and saying no and learning your boundaries is not selfish. It's self-care. It's self-preservation. To me, that's not selfish. And you as a healthy person may want attention sometimes. You may get defensive. It's about, we're human. We're all going to have moments of it. But being a person who is a narcissist is actually, there is a clinical disorder. And it's called narcissistic personality disorder. And what happens, it's a pattern and how it impacts others who they're in relationship with. One of the number one traits of it is they lack emotional empathy and they can't feel with you. And so they may say, oh, you're too sensitive, or that didn't happen. Why are you making this a big deal? Now, I'm also going to point it out that in society, most people, many people, never learn to deal with their feelings. And so someone may not be able to deal with feelings. It doesn't make them a narcissist. But they don't know how to relate to feelings. And there's something there, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're narcissistic. But if they lack emotional empathy, that's one of the traits. Another trait is grandiosity, meaning what happens with grandiosity is you think that you're superior. And again, remember I said last show, I said self-love is being able to acknowledge yourself and appreciate yourself and to feel that confidence within. It's not about bragging. Bragging is coming from a very different place. And you can, a narcissist they appear that they're superior. And they may overtly say, I'm smarter than everyone, or I'm so smart, or I'm so always right. They need admiration. And more covert is they may be a perpetual victim. They may think or feel misunderstood. Now, another thing with narcissists, they have a chronic need for validation because their self-worth is so low. They're constantly looking outside themselves for compliments and validation. Now, again, just because you need external validation doesn't make you a narcissist. It is a list of traits and as part of that personality disorder. Okay. So we all have this in us. Okay. So I just really want to make that really clear. Another way is that they feel entitled. Now, this rules apply differently. So they can cancel plans, you can't. They can criticize, you can't. They can be upset, you shouldn't. And then there's manipulative patterns. So instead of direct communication, they try to control, like tactics of guilt tripping, silent treatment, gaslighting, triangulation. And no, I'm giving you a whole list of a lot of stuff. And basically, this is really the bottom line is that they have a fragile ego underneath. So I'm hoping that helps you. And if you have any questions, you can definitely bring them up. And we have some questions coming in. Aha. Okay. So Mickey said, good questions. Thank you, Mickey. Anastasia asked, can we always trust ourselves? So the answer to that question is yes and no. Okay. So the yes is self-trust is something that can develop over time. And it's learning to trust yourself. It's learning to look within. It's learning to be able to trust in yourself. Now, if you are not sure, because sometimes your ego can play tricks on you. And that's why it's important that let's say if there's a big decision, you want to tune in, you want to be in discernment. And so learning self-trust is a process too. And the bottom line is, and this is where the intuition comes in. It's about knowing there's this place within you, a depth, a quietness where you feel, sense, or know intuitively this is the right action. This is what I need to do. And it may not always be the easy answer. It may not always be the way you think, and I'm putting that in air quotes for those listening, you think you should go, but there's this inner knowing and trusting. So when you start trusting yourself and you start listening and knowing and feeling your inner intuition, that depth grows. And you feel, you sense, yes, this is an answer I can trust. And that process may happen over time. And so even self-trust, like it's really interesting. I've had clients where I've worked with them and we actually have done what I call inner child work, which is powerful work to help you to heal yourself and to really, really improve self-love. And it's connecting with the child inside. And sometimes what happens, if you grew up in a family where you were told, don't trust anybody but me from a parent, you may have a very hard time trusting yourself. you probably will have a hard time trusting yourself. And so learning that self-trust is a process and a journey. And that child inside needs time, just like any relationship outside. You know how trust grows in relationships? It includes self-trust with yourself. And that also includes the inner child. I have told many a client, and I've also experienced it myself, where my inner child had to learn to trust me, the adult, because the adults, when I was growing up, I didn't really trust. And let me tell you something. I love my parents. They're in heaven now. But I didn't learn that self-trust. And sometimes things were really scary growing up. So it's learning to trust yourself, a learning for that little you to start being able to trust you. One of the ways is spending time with the child inside of you, listening, validating you, doing the loving things that I talked about, the nurturing or loving things like positive self-talk that I talked about. Those are all ways. Instead of saying, oh, I'm so stupid, maybe you need to say, okay, I made a mistake and I'm going to learn from this experience. And that is something that child inside of you probably needed to hear as well. So self-trust is a journey. So Anastasia, hopefully that helped. And Misty says, thoughts fly out of my head too quickly at times. Yep. Well, here's the thing. If the thoughts are flying out of your head, then let them fly out and come back to the presence of what you're doing, whether it's being present with your breath, remember, like belly breathing and following your breath, or whether it's being mindful of your body or listening to your heartbeat, feeling your heartbeat. It's really powerful sometimes just to be present with your heartbeat. It can put you in a trance meditative state. So if the thoughts are flying out of your head, it's okay. Come back to right here, right now, present time. Misty says, doesn't everyone have some of these qualities? I think what you're talking about is the narcissist, Misty. And yeah, and that's why every single one of us has that place in us. And remember, the narcissist is a personality disorder. It's classified in the DSM. The DSM is a book, a diagnostic manual for clinicians. So, and in the DSM, it talks about narcissistic personality disorder, and it's a list of traits. So in the DSM, and I don't know exactly how many, you need to have, let's say 3 out of 5. I'm giving you, I don't know the exact amount you need for a narcissistic personality disorder. So everything that I mentioned, it's not one thing, it's a group of traits that happen. So anytime there's some kind of disorder in the DSM, the person needs to have a certain amount of those traits or qualities or conditions in order to be classified as that diagnosis. I'm giving you all some inner secrets of being a clinician, a mental health clinician. And I'm sure doctors do that too. They just do it usually they have an ICD-9 So anyway, they have their own book as well. So yeah, there's always the list of symptoms that classify a diagnosis. So hopefully that yes, so we all do have it. So it doesn't mean that if you have one of those traits, you are. Okay. So I want to make that very clear for all of you. Okay. Thanks. Misty, or is it confused with other things? So, Misty, I hope I answered that question for you based on what I just said. And Anastasia says, yes, I think it does. Thank you. Okay, cool. Cool, cool, cool. So, before we go to the next part, I just really want to share with you that I have a masterclass coming up next Thursday during the day. And it's called Confidence, Clarity, and Clients. Attract your holistic clients and increase your income for women, coaches, therapists, nurses, holistic professionals, where you can increase your confidence, gain clarity, and bring in the clients. So learn soul level clarity. We're going to go over that. We're going to be talking a lot about how the soul plays into your business, my soul advantage system, and learn how to increase your income without overworking, create momentum with ease and consistency. And so eh, the link to register for this free virtual masterclass next Thursday, next Thursday, February 26th at 12 p.m. Eastern. And go to the link inspired and empoweredliving.com/masterclass. So it's the name of the show.com/masterclass, MASTERCLASS. So I look forward to having you join us. And so self-love, and I can't emphasize enough how much self-love is a journey. And what happens when you love yourself? Anxiety decreases, and your ability to set boundaries and say no increases. I just want to make sure anxiety decreases with self-love. Boundaries increase. And then you stop, or you not people please. That decreases. Your decision making and being able to tune into your intuition to make your best decisions, that's what I'm all about, improves. And your resilience rises. And what happens is that when you have that self-love, your nervous system calms down and you stop operating from survival mode and you move into the place of thriving. And what happens is, energetically, when you love yourself, you feel grounded, and you feel grounded confidence. There's a calm certainty. It's that place of self-trust. And here's the thing. People feel energy. You don't have to communicate it with words, because people are picking up energy all the time. And so if you're feeling needy, insecure, needing to get approval or overcompensate, people will feel it. Now here, And I just want you to know, remember, this is a journey. You don't have to have it all together. You don't have to be perfect. Remember, this is about process and progress, because this is about being gentle with yourself, being on the journey. This is about acknowledging yourself when you reached a place where you're like, wow, I used to act like that, and now I'm here. And with my clients, like we're talking about the times when, like, I sit with a client and I'm inviting you right now to think about how you have changed. Even listening to this show, maybe you've gained awareness. Maybe you've come to realizations. All of that is part of self-love. Acknowledge yourself, because you're in the journey and being here. I really want to acknowledge you. Thank you. Thank you for being here and participating and experiencing and being in the journey of self-love, because that's part of it. And what happens with self-love, and we're going to go deeper into this because I'm going to start talking more about relationships with others next week, and how when you have self-love, your relationships with others change. It changes. Like what happened with Jasmine, her boss would be like, talk about her, beat her up emotionally, like was really mean, not a nice person. And as Jasmine and I started working together, and she started loving herself and she started having the self-love, and she wasn't going to take what she did, and she started valuing herself, and her boss started treating her differently. She started setting boundaries, saying no, or being able to say, that's not okay. And the relationship shifted. Now, then at one point, she finally said, you know what, this job isn't for me anymore. But again, that self-love, when you have the self-love, relationships change. And so self-love, this is about you really saying yes to yourself, yes to showing up in your life, in your business, yes to decisions, yes to you speaking clearly, and you stop apologizing for who you are or your value or your worth. You are proud to be you, unconditionally you. And so, self-love, that's what it's about. And Misty says, thank you for the insight you give in the show. Thank you, Misty. I so appreciate you. And I appreciate you, Misty. I appreciate you, Anastasia. And I appreciate you, Mickey, and all of those who participate. Thank you for being here. And I appreciate all of you, those of you who I don't know, but you're listening. So I'm grateful to all of you. And I wish you an amazing journey of self-love. And next week, like I said, we're going to talk about relationships and how self-love works in with those relationships. So join us Join us next Thursday evening live, 5 p.m. Eastern, on talk4tv.com, w4wn.com, my YouTube channel. And you can come to my masterclass. You're welcome. Next Thursday, the 26th, at February 26th at 12 p.m. Eastern. Love to see you there. And you go to inspiredandempoweredliving.com/masterclass. And then I invite you to listen to the podcast on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Pandora, Apple, Amazon, and many more. And again, I am so grateful to all of you. And I wish you an inspired and empowered day, night, and week. Have a great one, everybody. Bye for now.